Okay, last bit. We're going to add some annotation to this drawing. I'll start off by putting some dimensions on here and explain the processes which by you can add and amend dimensions. So I'll zoom in on this bit. Okay, so nice little crisp clear detail. I'm going to put some dimensions on here. So I choose a dimension icon at the top, and I'll make sure I've got that SketchUp model closed and dimension style open. Now this is grayed out at the moment because I haven't got any dimensions set, but as soon as I click that, then it springs into life, and I can choose whether to have it the text sitting on top, in the middle, or below. I can have the vertical alignment, horizontal alignment, then in line with the thing, and sort of not through 90 degrees, I guess. What I do want to make sure I've got is millimeters, and my precision can be 1 millimeter. Alright, length decimal as opposed to architectural. Architectural is feet and inches, decimal is millimeters, so make sure you go back to that and 1 millimeter precision. Now this auto scale thing, what does that mean? It means that because this is linked back to the SketchUp model and it knows that it's in a viewport or a view window of 1 to 50 scale, that it'll do the maths for me. So if I was to put a dimension, overall dimension from that point to that point, then it's going to come out at 13,697 millimeters. If I go from midpoint there to midpoint there, that should be 6.5 meters or 6,500 millimeters. And similarly, if I zoom in and go from this point to this point, then I should get the 6,500. Whoop. Now, why has that gone? It's probably because I've selected it slightly higher the other side, so you can be a little bit careful where you select these dimensions. Make sure you're tracking along the right bit. I don't know whether I can lock out that axis. If I put my finger on the shift key, doesn't seem to be 6.5. Anyway, that's got it. And then I can line that up. Whoops. I should be able to line it up with that point there. Now, it's not as great as it is in AutoCAD. You might have to do some adjustment just to get it to sit absolutely perfectly, but that seems to be okay. What I'm not particularly happy about, and this is more of a personal thing than anything else, is the fact that the arrow dimension line is as thick as, or if not thicker than, the actual geometry that it's showing. I'd like this to be a nice thin line always. So this comes up in the shape style. Whilst I've selected this line, I look at shape style and I change this from 0.05 points to 0.1. That makes that much thinner and that much thinner. And also I change the arrow to that sort of arrow and the end arrow to a similar sort of arrow. This tones down the dimensions. Now I can choose the style dropper to select style from this and paste it onto that. Okay, so that's much better. And similarly this. So what I've also done, I've changed the text height. So I've double clicked on this and gone to the text style and changed that to 8 point instead of the 10 which it was originally. 8 should be fine, just readable. We don't want these to be too overpowering on the drawing. If you want to change or turn off the units, then this is the icon. You click on the dimension style, but I'll keep those on. The other thing I'd like to do is just extend this line down a bit further to see where it's actually taking the dimension from. So again, you have to be careful now because my viewport is kind of out there. If I try, or not try, but if I do go into SketchUp model and make sure that's ticked, then I should be able to just drag this viewport window down a bit, so I'm not double clicking through it to activate it. So if I select, say, this and double click this line, then I'll zoom in on this bit. See these little things? I can grab those and pull those down a bit further. There's a green blob, which this one here is the point at which I clicked, and then these are just the leaders which you can pull down. And providing they're nice and thin, then shouldn't be. I don't think there's anything I can do about this top bit. It doesn't seem to be selectable at all. It's just there. I suppose I could like explode this thing and get rid of them. So double click that, but they do come in handy, and I'll probably keep one of them. Go to this side, select, double click, and then just bring that down to that point there. So because I've cut off a bit of that, I just need to pull that back up just a tad. If you struggle with snapping various bits and pieces, this is the thing that controls it. These object snap off, grid snap on. If I click on this, I'll turn the grid snap to off, not on, because currently it tells me the current state and the object snap is currently off, so I want to turn that on. So if I just look at that, so I know my object snap is on and my grid snap is off at the moment. So that's how you control snapping to various bits and pieces as well. That might be a bit close to the edge, but let's not worry about it too much. Similarly, if I want to add angular dimensions, I can do so. The angular dimension is sort of click, 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 and then that will give me an angle. I haven't got anything to give me an angle of. 90 degrees, it's fairly obvious. So I'll just add a few more dimensions to this bit. Now I've set my style. Every time I create a new dimension, it gives me that dimension style. Okay, to do this, I can't actually use a dimension to do that. I have to use something like a label and say 10.2 millimeter diameter. So that's that. And again, I'll have to go in and change the style. I don't know whether I can pick the style off this. I'll have a go. Style, select, paste. There you go. I've got both sides done, so I'll just have to select that and end arrow, none. Okay, so I've now got that going on. It's not as brilliant as the ones in AutoCAD, but for setting these things up, it's not bad at all. Adding text is using this thing. So you click on that box, and then you can either click and drag a text box and text in there, or cut and paste sort of text from Word or something, or just click to start and column detail. And again, don't worry too much about the initial size of the text. You can select it, position it, and then change it to something slightly bit bigger. Okay, so using these basic techniques, fill in the rest of the bits of information, add some overall dimensions, add some dimensions here, give the details as printed out on the sheet, add your name and other bits of information on there, and you're pretty much done. If you want to put a little border around it, a little sort of title border, I'll just try and move this whole thing down. If I select this and just move that down using the down arrow key, and click and drag this whole thing, move that down just a bit as well. I can take that and copy and control to copy that text to there. On to 100 at A3. Important to say what sort of paper size it's the correct scale at. You'd also say do not scale at these things. So I'm just going to add a border. and I just create a shape for that. So I'll use my rectangular shape, or maybe a rectangular with rounded edges. That might be better, look a bit smarter. And I'm going to turn off the fill. I don't want to fill. I'll stroke of half a point should be fine, and then click somewhere in the corner and drag around to something like that. Okay, that'll do. Say text box, titles and other bits and pieces in the bottom. Run it along here or something. Trouble is with the rounded corner, you're a bit stuck to what you can do, so just use the line tool, and again make sure there's no fill, and then draw a line up and a line across. Split this up into various bits, add your name, your date, job reference, etc, etc, and that will be absolutely fine. Okay, so hopefully you've got the gist of this. It's not completely completed, simply because I haven't got the original version to hand, unfortunately, but hopefully you get the idea as to exactly how to set this thing up. Okay.